My name is Elizabeth Ewart, and I am going to share with you all my career development story and what led me down the path I'm on today. So as a child, and I was the youngest of 3 children, figuring out what I wanted to do with my life was kind of the last thing on my mind. But one thing I always had was a love for animals, and sometimes this would get me in trouble with my parents because I had a tendency to rescue stray cats mostly. So with the rescuing of strays in mind, I decided that I wanted to be a vet and work with animals. So at 15 years old, I got a job working in a grooming salon. We had a Pomeranian named Teddy Bear, and we had a Great Dane named Ragnar. He was like my best friend ever. So one day I had to make the choice, and I guess everybody has this in their life when they have to make kind of an adult decision, and this is a decision that has stuck with me for my entire life. And he wasn't doing very well, and we ended up having to make the choice to put him down. I made the decision that I wanted to go into work because I didn't want to be there. And I regretted that decision. I still think about it often, and when I got home, I was distraught because my best friend was gone, and this led me to understand that I couldn't be a vet. I thought that was something I wanted to do with my life, but the thought of having to make that decision for other families and to end the life of an animal was not something I could live with. So that's when I decided that I needed to find a new path. When it came to finding a new passion in life, I didn't have to look very far. My dad spent 20 years in the Navy, and we lived in a large Navy town called Pensacola, Florida. So in high school, we had what's called NJROTC, which is a training officer school or program in high schools. Whenever it came for my time in high school, I also joined the NJROTC. And this eventually led to me enlisting after high school. So I spent 9 years serving my country, and it gave me a sense of integrity. And there was also a sense of camaraderie, and I enjoyed every minute of my time in the Navy. It wasn't always perfect. Nothing ever is. I did spend 9 years in the military. And whenever I had to get out, it was due to some medical issues. In 2013, I decided to use my GI Bill, and this time I pursued something I was passionate about, which was psychology. So I enrolled in a local college, Southwestern Illinois College, decided to get my 2-year associate's degree. After the 2-year associate's degree, it was what's the next step? So I went to a few open houses, and then I discovered Lindenwood University in Belleville. And so I went and met with the head of the psychology department there, and we just clicked. Her name was Dr. Diana Jacobs. And then I met Dr. Trisha Prunty, and she was actually my advisor. And both of these wonderful women, they wanted me to pursue something greater. So there was the idea of, after graduating with my psychology and bachelor's degree, what do I do next? Well, then I was talking to a woman named Debbie Suttles, and she was our VA representative for Lindenwood. And she told me I should look into going to VA Voc Rehab because there's a possibility that they would pay for me to get a master's degree. So with that in mind, I put in my paperwork, and then a few months later, I was able to meet Melissa Steele-Lufsey. And Melissa was the one that, whenever I went into her office, she looked at my resume, she looked at my transcripts, and she said, "Have you ever thought about being a Voc Rehab counselor?" So she told me about Maryville University. So what do I want to do with my degree as a rehab counselor? I would like to give back to the veteran community and to help those veterans that maybe they're a little stuck on what the next step is. I think that I can help them with, because I've been where they are. So that's something I'm passionate about, and that's something I think that I can do in the future.